I had to quickly find. Yeah, well, you obviously win, but
Yeah.
I haven't had
The
time.
Vax as well.
Yes, I haven't. Good. I haven't had time, gentle viewers, to Christmasify this room. So I found some cheap lights in the Christmas bag, and look at how Christmassy this horror
Oh
podcast
yeah.
is,
They
isn't
look
it? I
amazing.
don't.
Oh, you've changed. You've got
Well,
Wishmaster up as well. I've just noticed that.
yes. Another thing for gentle YouTube viewers. Normally I would have the film that we're talking about, just a little, the DVD, the Blu-ray, the VHS. I don't have Black Christmas on
It must be
4K
hard to get hold of.
yet because it just came out in 4K. So I plan to get that for the 4K
Oh,
collection. So I figured I just put something else here. So I put Wishmaster on VHS here
Wishmaster.
because Wishmaster's great. I do love a
Such
bit of
good film.
Wishmaster. Yeah, it's great. It's great. So there you go, folks. There's some Wishmaster there for you. And this is a good transition in a second to something you need to talk about VHS wise.
Yes.
But before we do that, welcome back to the Dreadcast, everyone. This is episode 29. That was going to be last week, but we skipped a week, so this is now 29.
Yes. That is
And
right.
we will eventually be getting into the 1974 same day release as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
One of the best Christmas horror films, the original.
October 11th, 1974.
Yep, came out the same day. What a day for horror films to come out.
I know.
Black Christmas, one of the best horror films in my eyes, and probably now yours. Now it's your first time seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's... Actually, no, I would say it's high up there on my list now for great horror films.
But Christmas
Purely
horror
because...
films.
Oh, for Christmas horror films. I mean, this is a Christmas horror film I've watched, so, it's perfect. But it's up there now purely because of how many moments in this film, when you watch them, you can see other slash films going, oh, that worked really well. We're going to take that. We're going to stick that in our film. Oh, that did too. Okay, let's have that. And you can see how the slasher genre was effectively built. Well, not just this film, but were built around a lot of the plot elements that they did in this.
Yeah, completely. It definitely felt like a, I don't know, like a stepping stone to. It was kind of like the original slasher. It came out the same day as Texas Chainsaw, but it's part of the original slashers. You would have had thriller films before this, like many thriller films before this with a killer or whatnot. But this is the, I would say, the big time origin of slasher films. Correct me if I'm wrong, internet horror folk. Do correct us, because we don't know everything about horror.
I think most people, when I was doing some background research for this film, do agree that this is one of, if not the original slasher film, or at least a proto slasher, kind of like Psycho was. They considered Psycho, a 1960s Psycho, a pseudo slasher because of some of the elements, but I would say that probably Black Christmas is where they fully went, okay, right, build on that.
Yeah,
that's when it kind of took off. Because I mean, obviously, if you were to compare the two films, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Black Christmas, probably Texas Chainsaw was the one that was much more of a success at the time.
Yeah.
Whereas Black Christmas took a long time to get that cult status and accolades it deserved.
Yeah, that's a good point about Psycho. Like Psycho, Norman Bates, I guess, is a slasher, but I wouldn't call it. I would put this much more of the stereotype horror slasher film than Psycho
I don't know
is.
If I would say, Norman. I was having this debate with myself: was Norman Bates a slasher or not? Because he killed, or he tormented. I can't remember her name. It escapes me, because she came to his hotel.
Yeah.
So he never actively sought her out, similar to Leatherface.
Yeah.
He's quite content to be left alone.
We always say, certain killers, if you don't go to their, shall we say, area, you're fine.
Freddy and Jason and Leatherface, if you leave their little, areas alone, they're probably quite chilled.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't class Norman as a slasher purely because he doesn't really seek people out. Unlike Freddy, Michael, Chucky,
Yeah.
whose motive's like, I'm going to go out and create as much carnage as I can.
Yeah.
Leatherface, Norman, and Jason, like we said, if you leave them alone, they'd probably be quite happy just to be like, cool, I'm happy.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like I said, we'll hopefully, I actually hope we get corrected or pointed out. Actually, this is wrong because it's content. So come on, folks, get some comments.
Come on.
But yes, 1974 Black Christmas. But before we get into it, we have a VHS segue to get into.
We do. Oh, yeah.
More so for the video viewers. You could describe it for the audio viewers.
Okay, so it's rectangular in shape. It's very plasticky.
It's very detailed.
Yeah, I know. It rattles a bit when you shake it. So when I did this, when I picked it up, I rattled.
Yeah.
Went, oh, that's a VHS. Ooh, okay. But yes, it was my birthday the other week. We did Event Horizon for my film of choice. And Tom sent me a little VHS. He sent me Hellraiser. Oh, yes. It's incredible.
Yeah. Now, I do have my own.
Oh, probably shouldn't shake it.
Somewhere?
Well, you've got the Hellraiser NECA figure. I can see that.
I do have my own. Yeah, there it is. It's I'm not to piss on your bonfire. It is a re-release.
That's right.
It is a re-release, but it's only because originals are hard to come by.
True.
What?
I have just noticed
We got.
Inside, you get all the other films as well.
Yes, by Cinema Club, yeah?
Yeah. There's one there, Elvira, Mistress
Elvira,
of the Dark.
yes. Yeah, so that's Cinema Club's re-release collection. I've got a few Cinema Club re-releases.
Phantasm, there's another one.
Yo, Phantasm's been on my list for a while.
What other ones we got? Well, Easy Rider, that's a great film, though. It's not horror, but it's a great film.
Yep.
I think that's the only other horror films in this. The rest of them look like they're... Oh, Taxi Driver, that's a cracking film.
Taxi Driver,
Oliver.
Brilliant. Oliver's not bad. Oliver is not... can be scary. Some points can be scary. I mean, Victorian England is terrifying.
Now, I will tell you... Now, I have another figure, which I'll show you in a second.
I will
tell you an interesting story. Now, the day that this arrived, I had to go pick this up because it took 2 weeks to arrive, but
yes,
that's due to current strikes and whatnot. And I was out with the missus, and we were out with the daughter as well. And when I opened this in the car, because I was very excited to open this, and I showed the missus, and she went, oh. So we opened it up, and we took it out, and we explained to the daughter and said, this is what streaming used to be. This is what we had in the 90s growing up.
Yeah.
And when you watch the film, now this is for maybe our younger viewers who weren't around when these things were out.
Yeah.
When you watch the end of it, it didn't restart itself. All right, you had to rewind all of that back to the beginning. Oh, it was just hearing that.
And if you didn't have a fast rewind, because like on DVD player, kids, remember DVD players? Remember them? You get like the fast forward one, then times 2, then maybe times 10, then times like 100. This, if you didn't have a fast rewind, it would take you a couple minutes at least just to get back to the beginning.
And if you're really unlucky and your VCR player was terrible, it would try to eat the tape.
Yep.
So that was always fun.
And
I remember that happened a few times.
Even more unlucky and you can't rewind, you have to do it yourself, like you would have to do with cassettes. Yeah, like with cassettes, you get a pencil or a pen in, and you have to twist it and rewind. VHSs, you can do that. It's a bit tricky, a bit tougher. You have to. That's like a cog.
Oh yeah.
But,
oh man, I missed doing that in the 90s. But the other collection is, of course,
second segue. Yeah, new figure.
This is the third. Well, this is the fourth NECA figure that I have. Sorry. But it's the third one in the series. There he is. Classic mummy style. And where is he? He's not on there.
I think we talked about this before, but like I've never really personally been into Ninja Turtles. But what I am interested in is the fact it's the Boris Karloff mummy, right?
Yes. Exactly.
It's the original. It's the Boris Karloff mummy theme, which is cool. That's really cool.
Well, this is why I like these ones. So it's the classic Universal monsters that they're pairing them with. So we've had, where is he?
Keep talking.
On the side, we have had Raphael as the original Frankenstein. great one. Leonardo as the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yep.
Obviously, Michelangelo as the Mummy. April is coming out as the Bride of Frankenstein. Now, I did think she was going to be Elvira, but I was wrong. That's all right.
Well,
Never mind.
the thing is it definitely the Hunchback? Because I have here.
It is, yes.
Here's my.
Yeah.
I have the Universal Monsters Blu-ray collection,
Oh, look at
and
that.
on here is a great collection. We have Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Phantom of the Opera, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't know where Hunchback falls in with that. We've got a book. You get a booklet with this and all the backstory. All the good films. But
I'm not too sure. I might have to see if someone knows. But NECA did release a. They did like a 12 days down Christmas. So here you are. This is all of them there.
I'm looking.
So we have
looking.
Raphael.
Yep.
As Frankenstein's monster. Leonardo as the Hunchback.
Yeah. Oh, I can
Mikey,
see actually. He looks a bit Hunchback.
He does. The box. I mean, it's incredible. This is the box for Michelangelo and Raphael.
Yeah.
Leonardo's is like that
Because he's hunched over.
of the Hunchback.
Yeah.
And if we go back, you have Donatello as the original Invisible Man getup.
Yep.
I believe. Splinter is Van Helsing, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yep.
Now, obviously, April is
Bride of Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Yep.
Now, Casey Jones is technically not a Universal monster because he's actually the Phantom of the Opera.
What? Whoa.
So,
No, we have Phantom of the Opera here.
do?
Yeah, original Phantom of the Opera.
Well, there you go. Casey as the Phantom of the Opera. I must admit, I'm kind of
Universal
disappointed
Pictures.
that they don't have Shredder as something but then technically would he not have to be a good guy? I suppose. But I did see that for all the musical fans ones, you can in fact now get the Ninja Turtles musical music tour with all the guitars and stuff. I showed my missus and she went, "You're not having them."
They're just milking that franchise now, aren't they?
They are, but yes.
Let's turn them into anything.
I have now found. I might have to go on a shopping spree, maybe in Boxing Day sales.
Yeah.
In my local shop, I can get the original Invisible Man. I can get the original Mummy, and I have now found Frankenstein, all in their black and white variants. So they do look.
Are you talking as in the NECA figures?
The NECA figures,
but,
yes.
But the actual.
They're all black and white.
Oh, fantastic!
Yep. So they released two versions. You have the color versions, which are obviously color versions. But in order to really pay tribute to when they were black and white, they released a black and white variant, including putting the original posters. So you'd have the color version, which would be different, and then you'd have a black and white poster version as well. They look incredible.
That's really cool. I had no idea they existed. Yeah. That's great. That'd be a really nice collection to have the original monsters, the original Universal monsters. Easy.
I know. So, I really want to do is to get this one and then have the Mummy as well, so you can show the two of them together. Yeah,
good comparison that would be.
So I need my back now.
Right. Back to your regular scheduled programming. Yeah. Today's episode, Black Christmas, 1974.
1974.
Premise, very simple. Sorority house. There's a killer. Mm-hmm. It kind of reminded me of a lot, even though I've seen it before. Premise is very similar to like Halloween, Slumber Party Massacre. Killer, no motive.
No.
Pestering this sorority house. People get picked off one by one, and we're left with a final girl trying to deal with the situation. That is the simplest way to describe it. But one thing I love about it really is that it's like with Halloween, the Slumber Party Massacre, the killer, which I'll get into later because I've got a lot of notes on the killer, has no motive. Has, like I said, no motive. We don't need an origin story.
No.
We don't need a why. It's just batshit crazy man. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Throughout the whole of this film, he, like you said, he pesters these lovely girls in the sorority house. You got to give him props because his ability to mask his voice and change his voice is incredible.
Oh god,
But
I've got the notes on those phone calls.
yeah,
Holy shit.
even when you get to the end of the film, you're still sitting there going, I don't know why he did that. Why is
Yeah.
he doing this? I'm not sure. But it works because it leaves you with that suspense. That
Completely.
Now, you'll hear me say this a lot during this view, which is that suspense of, ooh, is he still out there? What's he done?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is something that loads of slasher films, especially in their first films, copied. Because obviously, most of the time when you release a film and you have ideas for a sequel, you're always pegging it on, if this doesn't do well, there's no sequel.
Yeah.
So you always leave it on a little bit of a cliffhanger.
Yep.
And if it does well, you're like,
Completely.
okay, sequel time. There you go.
Yeah, completely.
Obviously, this one never got a sequel, so it's still on a massive cliffhanger.
I mean, yeah, like the whole thing with the sequel is exactly like with Halloween 1, where Loomis shoots him, I believe, 5 times, and he falls out the balcony window, and then he's gone. And then all the shots at the end of the film are shots of Haddonfield, but basically saying he could be here, he could be here, he could be anywhere,
Yep.
he's still out there. And then, of course, we
Yeah,
get to the second film where there's an origin, there's a story, there's a reason for it, which we don't want that.
No.
I don't want to see.
We've
You don't
never
want a
done that.
sequel to Black Christmas. I don't want a reason as to this guy was Jess's long lost brother who escaped a mental asylum, and his traumatic childhood made him who he is, and he's come back for her. She got the perfect life, and he didn't. No, I don't want any of that.
It's interesting you mentioned that because they so Bob Clark, who directed this film, I can't remember the guy who wrote it. I do apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
He was friends with John Carpenter, of course, now famous for Halloween, and they had a conversation after Bob Clark directed this film. He basically went, "I'm done with horror. I've had enough."
Yeah.
Because he wanted to do other things. He'd done a few other like horror-ish films before this, but Black Christmas was like, that's it, I'm out. And John Carpenter asked him, well, if you had a sequel to Black Christmas, how would it be?
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll have the guy arrested. He's gone to an insane asylum. He gets out. He goes back to the town. He goes back to the house. He starts killing again.
Yeah.
And they have to try and find him. And John Carpenter looked and went, oh, yeah, that sounds really cool. What would you call it? And of course he went, well, easy. I'd call it Halloween. And pretty much 4 years later, John Carpenter went, I've got an idea for a film.
Halloween.
Halloween. It's going to be...
That's similar to a story Eli Roth told in his History of Horror podcast about how he came up with Thanksgiving. And I think he mentioned that. And that how so many of the holidays had now been taken up. Like Christmas, Halloween, with especially with the holiday in the title, April Fool, we did April Fool's Day, Mother's Day. A lot of these holidays have been taken up. Valentine,
the Beaster Bunny.
Well, let's not forget about the Beaster Bunny. Do go watch that on Amazon Prime. But yeah, that's why he said Thanksgiving. Although you did, will maybe next year Thanksgiving you did find.
I did find Thanksgiving.
So maybe we'll say that for Thanksgiving next year.
Yeah, why not? That'd be great.
But I lost my train of thought. Then I went on the Eli Roth tangent.
Talking about holiday films. Eli
the holiday films
inspired by something.
Yes, basically, I was just reiterating what you said about how John Carpenter took kind of not the advice. He kind of took the idea and went with it in his own way. And Eli Roth would have done that if he could have got the ball rolling on Thanksgiving.
Oh.
But at least with John Carpenter's Halloween, the premise is kind of the same in a way, but it's fleshed out a lot more. It's fleshed out a hell of a lot more, rather than we don't even see the killer pretty much in Black Christmas. We see his eye and maybe his silhouette. It's a lot more fleshed out as to Michael. We got the story of what happened to him as a kid. Went to the asylum and then escaped. That's it. It's a little bit more fleshed out than Black Christmas.
Yeah, I would say in terms of the slasher genre, obviously, you can't really pin down. I mean, if you were to be really picky, you could say, right, well, Black Christmas, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, these were the two films that really sort of went, okay, here's the golden age of slashers, and kickstarted it. But I would probably say you would have to include Halloween with these three, purely because you have Black Christmas that created a lot of the, not tropes, what's the word, staples.
Yeah.
For slashers that did it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well, built on a few of them as well. But I would then say Halloween, like we said, it was heavily influenced by Black Christmas, filled in the remaining gaps, which was, okay, you have this unknown slasher, but you can give a little bit of a backstory to them to set the scene, so people know who he is, may not know his motive, but at least you're like, okay, right, it's Michael Myers. Let's see what he gets up to.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously in Black Christmas, we get to know his name.
Well,
but that's it.
Who is it? Billy?
Yes, it is Billy.
Because
because it's mentioned a few times in one of those weird phone calls.
Yeah, is he referencing himself? And I feel like he's referencing maybe like trauma from his mother, like shouting at Billy, or like I
wanted that. See, this is why this film, I thought it is a great film.
It's fantastic
because they don't give you any information about this guy. You get these weird phone calls that are, if you're trying to listen to them, they're quite hard to understand. It's really,
they're horrific,
high pitched squeaking there. But every now and then you hear bits and you think, oh wait, is that his mother? Is he referring?
Yeah.
There's a bit with something about a baby as well, and I sat there going, oh, okay, did something happen with a baby in his childhood? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And they give you little bits of information, but for the majority, it's up to the viewers to think, okay, well, maybe that's why he did it. But I think why he's after the sorority girls, that's still not clear, I don't think. But there you go.
It's that part is very similar to Slumber Party Massacre. There was no rhyme or reason why that guy just started killing people. He killed people at the school, killed the female electrician at the school, in the van, and then just went to a slumber party and just started massacring, pun intended.
Yeah.
Then there was no reason. There was no, now here's the reason that I'm going to tell you for 5 minutes, the reason why I did all this. Don't need that. And it makes it scarier. It makes it scarier. No motive always makes it scarier. And especially when he's a crazy psycho like this guy was.
Oh yeah, this guy is clearly off his rocker.
The first note, and this has not really got much to do with the film. I just want to get this out of the way. I don't get America and sororities and fraternities and all that. It's such an American thing. No, I think at my uni we had clubs. There was like the skiing and snowboarding club. There was like the rugby club. There was, but nothing as serious as sororities. Yeah, I've never understood it.
When I was at uni, you could join clubs.
Yeah,
but it was, I think, sororities and fraternities. It's a much bigger thing because they're quite hard to get into, and especially
hazing
nowadays. Yeah, you hear about the hazing that goes on. You just sit there thinking it does not sound worth it to try and join one of these clubs if that's what you have to go through.
The idea of hazing, where you could literally lead someone to suicidal thoughts because they're trying to join, in theory, a club. It's just a club.
Yeah.
That's it. You live in a big house like this one, which it's a massive house where I think about 5 of them live. There's only a few bedrooms that we see.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of them. Well, it's weird. There's a lot of girls at the start, but then most of them
that's the thing.
The
ones we know live there.
They'll just leave.
The ones we know live there are Jess, played by Olivia Hussey, the main final girl. Barb, Phil,
played by
Phyllis.
Margot Kidder.
Yes, I love Barb. In fact, I love a lot of these characters. I really like.
Yeah, and again, it's another staple. Oh, it's weird. It was a staple where the victims, shall we say, care for them. You really care, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Sally
victims. Sally, you really care for them, and you need them to escape because they're built up in such a way that you can see. You could probably watch this film and go, "Oh, I've got a friend like that. Oh, I definitely know something like that."
Yeah.
Whereas, sadly, in a lot of modern horror films, you just sit there thinking, I don't care about you. Just hurry up and die already.
Yeah.
Come on, just get killed.
That's a really good point. Like, that would be interesting to go through a selection of horror films and think, do I really care about these people, or am I actually invested in these people? I think I said that. I think we're going off on a lot, but it's a good discussion. When I talked about Martyrs had been in my top 5, it was because I cared so much about the 2 lead girls. I cared so much about if they were written in a completely different way, acted in a different way, I wouldn't care about them, and then I would just see it as like this is a boring torture porn for the sake of being torture porn. You know?
Well, yeah.
Black Christmas, yeah, you do care about them. So you got Jess, Barb, Claire, who was our first victim, in the first 5 minutes. Which they'll get onto in a minute. Claire, Phil or Phyllis, I think. She wore the glasses and the big hair.
Oh yes.
So that's 4. There's also Mrs.
Oh jeez.
Mother or Mother. I wrote it down. She's like she's called the house mother. She basically looks after the house.
I've got the cast up here. Yeah, I've got notes. Well, a few notes on her because it's interesting. I feel like she's slightly part of the comic. It's a weird comic relief. Oh, Mrs. Mac, is that her name?
Yeah,
Mrs. Mac. There
Mrs.
you go.
Mac, you spot on with the comic relief because there are black comedy aspects sprinkled throughout this film.
We have Mrs. Quaife. I can't remember who that was.
We know there's 5 bedrooms at least. 4 girls on Mrs. Mac, so there could be others because it's a big house.
Yeah. See, I reckon that obviously it's a big house. It's supposed to be a sorority. Obviously, there's quite a lot of people that would live in this. But I think due to the premise of this film is it's set at Christmas time, and I think it's Claire just before she dies. She says, "Well, I'm going home for Christmas. I have to pack." So maybe a lot of those girls, off camera just left. It's like, right, we're going home for Christmas. We're off.
Yeah,
and the ones that are left hadn't. So yeah, could be that.
We don't see many rooms. Like, I think there's about 3 floors, but we don't. The hallway is kind of. You go up the stairs,
Claire's room,
turn the corner, and you go up the stairs again. The hallways don't spread around like you would in, say, I don't know, an old-timey horror house where a hallway goes down, then it goes left, then it goes right, then it goes up. This is quite a big open house where you can see the stairs go up, hallway, turn around, up, hallway, and that's it.
Yeah, I think we see Claire's room, Barb's room.
We definitely see Claire's room.
See the basement. We have a basement. We see
the
loft.
Yeah. Living room. Kind of open.
There's another room where Mrs. Mac. I have so many notes on this lady.
Yeah, with her alcoholism.
Yeah, mainly. She must have secret hidden places all over this house because she just pulls out bottles of alcohol. She pulls them out from the toilet, and I was like, "Oh, you're not going to drink that, are you?" Oh.
Hey, look, when you got to drink, you got to drink. Apparently, she
true.
got to drink. I like, go on.
Of course, we can't forget John Saxon.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Let's get into the cast because it is a great cast, and John Saxon's fantastic because I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street is the biggest horror film, but he is also in From Dusk Till Dawn.
He is, wasn't he? Yeah.
Briefly.
I type in
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Horror film because Margot Kidder was in the original Amityville Horror.
Yep.
She was also in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Halloween 2? Rob Zombie's Halloween 2?
Yeah, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Oh, God, who did she play in that? I've watched the first Rob Zombie Halloween film a couple of times. The second one is appalling. I've watched it twice, I think, and I think that's enough.
She was also very famous for cosplaying Lois Lane in the original Superman films.
That's where I knew it from.
Yep. She was in The Clown at Midnight. There you go. Another slasher film. She's been in loads of horror films. Blimey.
Yeah.
Halloween 2, she was Barbara Collier. There you go.
Yeah, I'm not even that bothered that I don't recognize that name from that film, if I'm honest.
I haven't even seen it either.
In this film, like each character has kind of like their own aesthetic, and it's played out really well. Yeah. Like Jess obviously has a situation with her partner. She's pregnant. She doesn't want to keep the baby. She's a very serious Peter. She's a very serious character. A little bit timid, but very serious. Barb is kind of she could be the party animal. She's always got a cigarette lit. She's either always
Yep.
drinking. She's a
Yes.
lot
Yes.
more confident, like when speaking to the policeman about talking about the new phone extension being fellatio. She's a lot more
Yeah, that
confident.
was great.
Phil seems a bit timid as well, but also a bit on it, a bit stern.
Claire, briefly, we had Claire.
Very briefly.
I think she's the polar opposite of Barb. So the two of them over the phone call, they clash hard. So Barb they have a phone call. I can't remember what it was about. It was something about, they get a weird phone call. They get someone called the Mona.
Yeah.
They think it's someone called
the first phone call. Yeah.
The first phone call, and it sounds like a couple of people are going at it.
Yeah.
And I think Barb kind of passed off. Oh well, someone's getting lucky. Whereas Claire's much more, well, probably shouldn't joke about these things because it might not be. And you could tell
she was right.
Two of them, yeah,
she was very right.
You could tell the two of them do not see eye to eye because Claire at that point's like, you know what, screw you, I'm off. And Barb kind of goes, right, well, F you, get lost.
Yeah, they are oil and water clashing basically.
Yes.
But I think with Olivia Hussey playing Jess, I don't think if you had I don't want to say a generic final girl discussion with someone, I don't think she would ever get brought up really, because this film isn't as synonymous as your everyday slashers. But I think that's a shame because I think she's a fantastic final girl.
Yeah. Well, effectively, she's one of the originals. She is she is probably one of the original final girls, along with Sally.
Her and Sally, two of the original.
But I think the way that, obviously I said it earlier, the film when it was released didn't get the praise it deserved, because when it was released, a lot of people find it very, not bland, but it wasn't massively successful. And I think that's partly due to the fact that it is a very slow burning film. I kid you not. I started watching it, apart from Claire's death in the first 5 minutes, that's pretty much it till you hit about the 1 hour mark. And this film's only an hour 37 minutes long. So there's a good hour where it's just, oh, Claire's gone missing. I wonder where Claire is. Oh, look, could it be? It sets up loads of different things.
Yeah.
But nothing really happens.
The first, I think it's 5 minutes. I'll round it up to maybe 10. The first 5 to 10 minutes are full on of, okay, we're in POV shot of the killer climbing the trellis of the sorority house. He's in the attic. You can hear, like, I think he's got heavy breathing. Claire is doing her thing of wanting to pack to leave. He has somehow got into her room, and he's grabbed her. She's dead. This is so fast. This happens so fast. And he then retreats back to the attic, and then we start the film. Then we're like, okay, Claire's gone missing. What's going on here?
I think it's because Jess, she's in the film, but it's like the other characters. You jump between the characters so often that you never really fully focus on Jess. And again, Jess only really becomes a final girl right at the end. But even then, without giving too much away, if you're gonna obviously go and watch this film, I won't give too much away. But she's never technically in any. There's no real threat to her right at the end of this film. Obviously, she gets told, right, the killer's in your house. Go. She doesn't. But then, between then and the end of the film, you sit there, you watch it, and you're going, okay, well, nothing's happened.
Yeah,
she doesn't get, unlike a now modern slasher film, when that happens, usually the killer comes out and it's like, right, okay, it's fight or die, fight or what was it? Flight or fight time.
Flight or fight, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose you're right, because let's say Scream 1, for example, there are moments where, I'm trying to think, where, Sydney's friends obviously get taken out one by one, but Sydney is also attacked throughout the film.
Yeah. Jess is never really in any danger throughout this film.
and it's towards the end where you as the viewer, which really should be obvious, to realize it's not Peter, it's this crazy guy.
No. And to be fair, Jess puts herself in danger, or could put herself in danger, because she's told, right, she's called up by Lieutenant Nash. She says, right, just do as I say, put the phone down, walk out the door. She goes, but my friend, she goes, no, just put the phone down.
That's annoying. Yeah.
She doesn't do it, and she starts screaming to her friends.
Yeah.
And I sat there watching this, and you could see in my brain was going, right, if the killer didn't know your ways in there, he does now.
Yep.
So
yeah, that bit was very frustrating.
Walked out the door, but so she puts herself in danger, and even then, like I said, between the 10 minutes that's left, she goes down into her basement, and then she sees Peter. She thinks, "Is it him?"
Yeah.
We cut to the end, and it's like, "Oh, she's still alive. Cool." End of
film. Yeah.
But I think again, you could put it down to this was, like we said, probably one of the original slashers. So they were trying something different. So obviously now people know how to introduce it. Like with Terrifier, you introduce your character, you build it up, you build up the characters, you have the big, explosive minute in the middle. You may reveal who the slasher is. You have the final end scene, and you end it. I think with Black Christmas, they were kind of testing the waters, so they didn't really know how to have that sort of.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't even say it's testing the waters. I'd say this is all they kind of knew of and could think of, because it's so early. It's early days of slashers,
Oh yeah, this was ground zero, effectively.
Like everything we're saying now, or not criticizing or just pulling up on, is because of our, experience, our wealth of watching these types of films, and the variety of these types of films. Whereas back then there wasn't that, so
yeah,
it was quite hard to criticize. Oh, you should have done that. You should have done that.
Yeah, I think in order to fully appreciate, like you said, what this film was, you have to watch it as if you've never heard of any of the slashers.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
If you watch it thinking, right, there's no Michael, Freddy, Jason, all the classics.
Yeah.
Just sit there and watch it. Go, right, this is a brand new horror film that they're doing, and you'll probably enjoy it more. And I've never seen this before, and I loved it purely because I got to see where now all the slasher films I love,
where they
came from.
Yeah.
And it was here in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and to a degree Halloween, that laid the foundations. Went, right, we've got something new here. Let's go with it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the golden age of slashers only lasted about 10 years. It pretty much started here, and it was already dying out by the time A Nightmare on Elm Street came out.
Mid 80s onwards, and then it was saved by Scream again in the 90s. Yeah. It was late 70s, early 80s, the peak.
Yeah. One of my notes that I had for this, and it was during the, it links in with one of my other notes, which was that this film is little bits, we said earlier, little bits of horror, black horror comedy, especially with Mrs. Mack.
Yeah.
Running around, finding alcohol bottles everywhere, telling the cat she's going to castrate it because Claude's dropping her off the wall.
Claude yes.
Was a very early example of a fake out, of a fake jump scare, a fake out. And it's when she's she's in the bathroom and she's trying to find the alcohol, and it's got that big glass mirror.
Oh yes, the doors. Yes.
She opens one. I was like, oh, here it comes. Close that, like, oh. Opens another, like, here it comes. Oh, no, nothing. Oh. And then she finds it in the toilet. And it was incredible to watch, because it's a fake out. But unlike current ones, there's no tension music. It's just no, okay.
Well, if that was going to be a fake out, if that was not going to be a fake out and a jump scare, that would have been zero music, and then on the last door slam, it would have been a bang, and the killer being there. So that's how you would get the jump scare.
Or Jess or the cat or something.
Yeah, but yeah, completely. And if it was the killer, it wouldn't have made sense because obviously the way we're going with this killer is that we've already been shown a POV shot, and she's in the bathroom, which is like brightly lit. You're not going to see. We don't want to see a full frontal bit of the killer. Granted, later on we see the killer in the darkness, in the shadows. We see a bit of his eyeball. That's fine. But if you suddenly just boom, here he is, crazy man, it kind of takes it away from the mysteriousness of it.
Yeah, and I think that's it's a lovely part of this film is that again it's similar to the ending of Halloween, like you said, where they're doing the shots of Haddonfield.
Yeah,
was to the audience, it could be anyone. It's like, well, who is this? Who is Billy? You know, they don't show you his face. It's clear it's a man.
Oh yes,
we get that. But you know, they point the fingers at so many potential characters throughout this film that, again, it's up to the audience. It's, well, could it be, I don't know, Claire's dad who hates the sorority for some reason?
Yeah.
Could it have been Peter? Might have been. Could it have been one of the other male friends that they knew who just didn't like them?
Well, could have been anyone. The thing about Peter, Jess's boyfriend, who is clearly very anti-abortion. Very anti-abortion.
Interesting, because now I just realised Jess throughout the whole film has a gigantic crucifix on her neck.
She does. Yeah.
And as soon as she finds that she's pregnant, it's like, nope, get rid of it. Which I started thinking, if you are very Christian, you would not be saying that.
Take me to the stairs and pushing and vacuum museum, and we'll get it done there.
Yeah.
Pushing downstairs and vacuum museum. But throughout the whole film, obviously, Peter he's annoyed because of this whole abortion thing. He wants to keep the baby, but the film tries to make you feel at times is Peter the one that's doing the crazy calls? Is he the killer? But the film is trying to, but at the same time, I feel it's far too obvious that it's not him.
Yeah, I must admit, I thought it was Lieutenant Nash. I thought he may have been doing it because he's set up to be kind of. Well, he's a police officer. He could get around quite easily.
Yeah.
I thought it was him because he gets picked on so hard by his other officers throughout the whole film, and he's also made fun of by some of the girls in sorority house where they give him the fake phone number that spells out fellatio, and he doesn't understand until some of the officers later, like, are you sure this is right? He goes, yes, fellatio. It's the new phone line. It's like, is it now? Okay.
Nash, Sergeant Nash, Lieutenant John Saxon's
Sergeant Nash.
I can never get I never get the
hierarchy.
rankings right. But Nash falls into the whole black comedy aspect again as well. Another thing sprinkled in, like we were just talking about. Like, the fellatio thing is great because that then leads on to another scene of John Saxon's character, Fuller, I think his name is Lieutenant Fuller. They're laughing at him. They're laughing at him because he didn't get it. But yet at the same time, this is probably around the end of the second, beginning of the third act, where there's more killings happening. It's a serious situation, but they're sat in the police station laughing at their colleague who's been tricked by a sorority girl, saying their phone number starts with fellatio because he didn't understand. Simply didn't.
Great.
It's just a ribbon, but he just didn't get it.
Yeah.
There was. Sorry, go on.
Oh no! One of my notes was also that I took certain notes on, like, bits throughout this scene.
Yeah.
Throughout this film, sorry. And there are great moments when, sort of horror comedy moments where you have one of the lads who's part of the he's part of the fraternity that's I guess the sorority's the sister to. Again, I don't understand it that well. And he's dressed up as Santa Claus, and he's having this massive whinge fest with someone. He's basically effing and blinding while he's sitting kids and stuff going, he goes, she's such a bitch. She never calls my phone, stupid. And this kid's like, can I have a pony? He's like, no, you fucking can't. Get off my lap.
Yeah,
and the kid's okay.
It feels like it should be a conversation happening. Say you shoot the scene of him with the kids being all happy, and then the next scene is him say, behind the set of whatever they've got, effing and blinding, with parents go like, where is Santa? Where? But he's just doing his job with the kids there, going, oh, fuck it now.
And again, this film is sprinkled with these great little moments like this. You have when Claire's dad arrives, he asks this guy who actually hits him with a snowball.
Oh God, Claire's dad, yes.
Where's my daughter? He goes, I don't know her, Claire. It's like, oh, she's in this fraternity. He went, oh, that Claire? Yes. I don't know where she is. It's like, oh.
Oh God,
he's
Claire's
like, oh, thank
dad.
you. Yeah. And
when Claire's dad is with Mrs. Mac.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's great because the guy walks away and he's like, where's the fraternity? And he goes, I've already said I don't know where she is. And just walks off. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, you're not going to get any help from college students.
No, yeah, they don't care.
Claire's dad, he's obviously there because Claire didn't arrive, has gone missing, so he's there to try and see what's going on.
He's very chill, though. He's super chill.
Very chilled. He's very calm and collected. He's not losing his shit just yet. He's been very methodical about things. But when he's at I was about to say sorority house, not that's fraternity and sorority house with Mrs. Mac.
No, he's obviously call it sorority house.
He's obviously very old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Claire was not here to drink and get with boys. She's here to study.
Oh,
but obviously in the rooms, there's a poster on the wall of the peace symbol.
Very naughty poster.
But it's two people having sex, but in the shape of the peace symbol. And Mrs. Mac is just constantly covering it, trying to distract him. Go through that door. That's great.
It's when he slowly closed the doors. It's like,
yeah. And I think just after this, when Mrs. Mac has got her possessions ready, she's ready to leave or somewhat. She's shouting at Claude like, "You prick!" Just to the side of her, coming up the stairs, is Claire's dad, looking so disapproved of her.
He does.
But these subtle comedy moments, they in certain films they could take away the scariness of I always say, I watch a horror film, I want to be immersed. I don't want people making jokes. I want to be immersed. I think you can still be immersed in this film and take away these comedy and enjoy these comedy aspects while still being immersed in a scary film. You don't want a horror film to add these comedy aspects and then you're like, oh, it's not that scary anymore. Like, it's still intense at times.
I think so long as if they're going to put horror, like little bits of comedy in these films, so long as it's not forced, it works. And it's done in a way that it's believable. So, when Mrs. Max is putting on lipstick, she gets halfway across and then she hears the creaking noise and she stops. And it's like, I think I found the cat. So she goes to get him, and then she spills her handbag. She starts having a go at the cat. And actually, if you've ever owned pets and they do something like that and it stops you halfway through, so I don't know, they've been sick or something, you do start to have a go at the cat or the dog. And it's a very believable moment. If she was trying to find this cat and it then made her drop all of her stuff, you would start swearing at the cat.
Oh God, you'd start swearing at inanimate objects.
Yeah, I know. You start swearing at, I don't know, a piece of dust on the floor.
Yeah.
But it works because it's made to feel believable. Not she walks out and it's like, where is the cat? Oh, look. My handbag's fallen over.
I found it. Yeah. It works. You're right. Completely right. Yeah. The inanimate object thing just reminded me of a Lee Evans joke where you get in like late one night and you could be drunk, you accidentally kick the table, but you're shouting at it like it's there. It's like, shh, you'll fucking hear you.
What are you doing there?
Yeah. And the table's like, I didn't do anything.
What's all that banging? Oh, I fell up the stairs. Shh.
I had one more thing that I noted, black comedy wise, like comedy aspect, was towards the obviously there's a tiny little subplot about a young girl who went missing. So one of the scenes when we go to the police station, there's a mother giving a report about her daughter who's gone missing. I think she's like a 13-year-old girl, which probably could relate to the same killer. We don't know. We don't really find out. And there ends up being like a hunting party, like looking for this girl, and they end up finding her dead body, which you don't see in like a film. Now, this hunting party is comprised of like just people in the town, but there's also these like,
Yeah.
I don't want to call them hillbillies or hicks, but they look, say
Yeah.
farmer type, the farmer type with
Yeah.
guns. And they end up at the sorority house, and Phyllis just sees one through the window with a shotgun, like, just peering in. And then, well, what the fuck's going on? And they go to the back door, and it's two guys, but they're so goofy. They're so utterly goofy. Again, you've got this intensity, and then they just drop you back down to normality for a bit with these goofy hunting party. They leave, and then we're back to terror again.
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly what they say. But...
they tell them to lock their doors, lock the windows and the doors.
Yeah, yes.
And there's a little bit of foreshadowing where Claire turns to Phyllis and goes, "Oh yeah, this is the only door that's in the house that's actually locked now, isn't it?"
I couldn't believe that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like, but they just pass it off. It's like, okay, cool. And it's foreshadowing because we know, the audience knows at this point that the killer's in the house. We know that. But these two girls are like, oh. It just shrugs it off. It's like, oh, what happened to it?
I wasn't sure. I haven't done my research in here, so I'm not... Yeah, no, I've just quickly looked I was right. I think the thing with America, they're locking it, they became a lot more, not paranoid, but sensible with the lock-in around the mid-70s to late 70s because of such things as like the Golden State Killer, like the prominent serial killers. So obviously before that, I don't know. I'm kind of speculating here that locking your windows and doors permanently wasn't really a natural thing, whereas from then onwards it became a bit more of a paranoia.
I suppose it would depend on maybe on what state you're in, because I know sometimes you get to some states where in America it's very remote, very, your nearest neighbor might be 5 miles down the road.
Yeah.
So for you, they're like, well, no one ever comes this way, so I can leave my doors unlocked because I live in the middle of nowhere. Whereas obviously here in the UK, every time I go to bed, I'm like, right, I'm going to make sure the doors are locked, the windows are locked, everything's locked, everything's shut. Just because we, in the UK, we're a tiny island, so unless you live out in the sticks, there's going to be someone will be going past your place.
Well, you say it when I was in Japan last, a friend of mine who taught English out there, and we met up with him, and he said that we're in middle of Tokyo. He lives in Tokyo, saying, "I never lock my car. I never lock my front door because it's that safe. It is that safe." And I couldn't possibly imagine doing that here, like you just said. Like, no, I always make sure the doors are locked, cars locked, because it's such a different culture.
I remember once I went out for a coffee. This was years ago, and I got out the car and I was so busy getting my bag out that I completely forgotten to take my keys out of the ignition. So I turned the car off, parked it, and I got out the car and I walked off.
Yeah.
I left my keys in the ignition and I went to have a coffee and I was there for about an hour and a half.
Yep.
Then I went to leave. I was like, "Did I have my keys?" I'm like, "Oh, I can't remember my keys on." And then I suddenly realized, I've left my keys in the car. And it was this immense feeling of, oh shit.
Yeah.
My car's going to be nicked. It's gone. And I got back and my car was still there with the keys in the ignition. And I was like, I am so surprised no one's nicked my car.
Oh, that would happen. That would happen easily.
It's the chance. It's the chance one. The thieves are very opportunistic. If they see it, it's like, oh, I've got it. I'm gone.
Yep.
So if someone would walk like that, I walked past my car, they're just going to go on, keys in the car. Just got in the car, turned the car on. That's it. My car's gone.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's
completely.
Just the UK culture that we live in. It's like, right, I mean, you're taught over here from a young age. It's like, right, well, when you leave the house, lock the door. When you're done for the night, lock your door. Lock your door.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lock
everything. And then with this house, hardly anything's locked.
No, it's all open.
This killer was able to get inside really easily. Really easily.
But I think, like you said, though, that's a sign of the times of when this was written. This was written early, mid-70s.
Yeah.
When, things were not safer. Well, they were probably a lot safer. But like you said, with the rise of the Golden State Killer, all of this news that were coming out, like, you have serial killers everywhere, crime goes up. that's when people went, you know what? I don't feel safe. I will lock that door, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a quick look as well. And I think it seems there's like even the Zodiac Killer was from the late '60s. So
Oh, yeah.
we're around the '60s, '70s time. Let's say I'm not familiar with all the serial killers around then, but
this is a complete weird tangent. But
all right,
I saw a note, not a note, an interesting bit of like trivia, which was at any given time in the US, there's like 2,000 serial killers active
2000
at all times. It's a high number, and I read that and went, that is crazy to think there's that many serial killers just walking around. It's unbelievable. You're looking this up now, aren't you?
Of course I am. You said 2000.
It's probably more than 2,000, but you know, that's what. There you go.
Let's say there's an abundance of potential serial killers that could be around the US right now. 2000 is a lot. That's
okay. Maybe not 2,000.
Hang on. There's 50 states, right?
Yeah.
That's two. Isn't that 200 a state? No, 50.
No.
What's 2,000 divided by 50?
Maths for you guys now on the Dreadcast. So 2,000.
40. That's 40 serial killers in each state.
Yeah, it's definitely not that much. Sorry, US. I got getting my facts wrong.
I know where you're coming from, though, and I could potentially agree.
Yeah.
There could be an abundance right now of serial killers that we don't know of in the US. Yeah. I had two slight tangents just from what we were talking about safety-wise and of the era. I got here about the dismissal from the police of when they when they first ring the police up. It's Nash on the phone, and then Nash gets pulled up by a lieutenant saying, "Why didn't you tell us about this?" Because it's very much of the time where they rung up and he fobs them off. He's basically saying, you know, it could just be one of your ex-boyfriends being crazy or funny or something. That would be scandalous nowadays if policemen did that. A young lady is in absolute distress on the phone of someone calling them with absolutely horrifically creepy messages, nonsensical. You don't know who it is. It doesn't make sense. You're feeling scared, and the policeman who you are trying to put all your trust in, is just tell them to go away. Just tell them stop.
Yeah,
it's just mad, absolutely mad. But very of the time.
The thing is, I think like 99 for our 999 dispatchers, you know, they must get hundreds of calls of people just wasting their time.
Yeah.
So obviously they have a duty to take everyone seriously. But could you imagine getting a phone call saying, "Oh, we've got some guy calling us. Yeah, he's making weird sex noises down the phone. That's a bit creepy." That dispatch would be like, "What do you want me to do about it?" It's like I can't really do much about that. He's a weirdo. But nowadays,
I don't know how they would deal with that.
The best you could do is say, right, well, next time he calls, just tell him to go away, and if he keeps doing it, then we'll come back. But I think the problem with a lot of like police, they get called out to something, and then when they get there, they do just sit there and think, there's nothing I can do. I can't help you.
It is a hard one to deal with. It is, because unless you put a tracker on everyone's phone, the trackers aren't exactly widely available. It's hard, but to just dismiss the call instantly and fob them off with you're being a hysterical young lady, and you should just tell your ex-boyfriend, who it clearly is, just to go away. Whereas there must be I've never worked in the police call center. I wouldn't know how to deal with it, but off the top of my head, either now, obviously easier with modern technology. If it's not a private number, you can block numbers. That helps. Yeah. If calls keep happening in succession, like every 5 or 10 minutes, you kind of know it's probably them, so don't pick it up.
Yeah.
I don't know. There must be. They must have protocol for everything like this. There must be something.
Oh yeah.
Rather than full dismissal and calm down, little hysterical lady. You're just being
There's
silly.
nothing to worry about.
If a man rang up and told me, then we'd be round there in a shot. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's Lieutenant Nash as well. Because Fuller
Yeah.
takes it on, going, basically saying, we've potentially got the kid on the loose. We've got a young girl missing. We've got a girl missing the sorority. You didn't think it was important to tell us that a girl from said sorority has rung up saying they are getting creepy calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See,
Go on.
Oh yeah, no, you had another tangent, didn't you? I'll let you do
It's
your
not
tangent
that
first.
big. It's not that big of a tangent.
Was it not?
It's a real thin segue. Because we were talking about doors.
Okay.
There, see where I'm going with this. Did you catch all the stock door sounds? The stock sounds of the doors closing and opening?
No, I didn't.
Where did you watch it? Did you acquire it? Did you acquire it?
I acquired it.
Fine,
yes.
fine. Because the item that I acquired of Black Christmas, every door opening and closing was a the stock sound, and also the phone going off and on the hook was stock sounds. I did notice that one. But the doors, if you could go back to your acquired,
yes, I will do.
Copy at some point.
My acquired copy.
And check the doors. Every single door, even the car doors, sounded like stock footage, but specifically the doors in the house. Are you checking it now?
I'm going through my trivia because I like my trivia.
Oh, okay. See what's in there. Yeah, I noted that. I noted in the first few minutes with the doors opening that I've heard this door sound before, and it doesn't sound right. It's almost like
there you go.
When you use
trivia.
When you use a stock sound in an old film, like it could have been a re-release acquisition that I got. You know, because it could have been a new stock sound put over the re-release film,
like a remaster.
Yes, it could have been. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got some interesting trivia here that would explain a lot of reasons why a lot of these characters were quite likable in this.
Yep.
So the first one is, legend has it that this was Elvis Presley's favorite horror film. I don't know if that's true or not, but there you go.
When did Elvis die? Because
it must have been after 1977.
So this was on his this was like on his sitting at home eating burgers, watching horror films sort of face.
So when Clark came to writing, obviously I'm assuming Bob Clark had a hand in helping to write the final script of this. A rule that he always had was, whenever he wrote female characters, he never objectified them sexually or gave them nude scenes. He always wanted them to be believable. Any horror characters he created, he didn't want them to be disposable. Obviously, some of them would die, but they had to be believable, which is great because that's probably why a lot of these, the girls in the film are very likable. That's incredible.
It's not a forced sexualization of the women to the viewers.
Yeah. I'm trying to... Okay, let's see. No, that's something about... Oh, Peeping Tom was the first slasher film to have POV. A lot of people thought it was this film, but it wasn't.
I called you out on that a few episodes ago. I can't remember what it was, but I said it was Peeping Tom.
Here you go. So, interesting fact. None of the actors portraying teenagers in this film are actually teenagers. They are not.
Oh, no shit.
In fact,
no shit.
The oldest actor to portray a college student in this film was Keir Dalia. I can't remember who she plays. She was 38 when she played her teenage character. That's incredible.
Spell her name?
Keir.
Keir. That's Peter. No, sorry, no, Keir. That's Keir. Yeah, that's Peter.
So he was 38 when he played Peter. That's incredible.
Yeah, and he is still alive, it would seem. Wow, dude is old.
It's not saying... Oh, well, let's go down to the...
He's 86 now.
Oh, wow.
Olivia Hussey is... How old is she? 71. I mean, yeah, it is nearly 50 years old, this film.
That is true. It is a
So,
very old film. God, there's loads of trivia. I can't
yeah.
get through all these trivia.
No.
Ah, there you go. You know how we talk about Jess being a final girl? So, in 2016, in a 2016 list of the best final girls in horror history by the entertainment magazine Paste, Jess was described as the best final girl of all time.
Really?
There you go. Yeah. So obviously she is, like we said, she is the original. Well, she is probably
One
one
of
of
the
the original
originals,
horror
yeah.
final
I
girls.
would, I would put her up high. I would put her up high.
I would, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
you got
for
to give
sure.
it. You got to give props to the OGs.
Yeah.
There's not. There's too much trivia. I'll have to. To be fair, I'm putting together, some interesting horror stuff for the TikTok. So no doubt this will come out in the TikTok. So don't worry. But yeah, I'm sure stock sounds are in there somewhere.
There are. That was there's a little tangent there. For that. I could not note that down because I just heard them every time a door opened.
It's like the Wilhelm scream. You hear it once, you will hear it. I've heard it in TV shows, video games, films. I've heard it everywhere. It's even influenced. No, I didn't. No, I'm thinking of something else. Ignore that.
Okay.
Back to my notes.
Yes.
I want to just touch upon a couple of scenes in this film that I thought they were just incredible, and it's the rocking chair it's Claire's final resting place in the rocking chair in the attic.
Yeah.
She's got the bag over and she's just staring lifelessly out the window, just rocking backwards and forwards. And
it's actually the cover. It's actually the poster of the film.
Yeah, and
it's a bit of a spoiler.
Well, that's what's interesting was I did notice upon that where movie posters back in those days would, I think, usually take a scene from the film.
Yeah.
And put it on their poster. Obviously, with Black Christmas, it was Claire's death. She's in the rocking chair.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We have there you go. Leatherface.
There it is.
Yep, with one of them on the hook.
Yeah.
Mother's Day. We had the lady in the chair.
Yep.
And I think it's just great Obviously, it's great marketing because you get to show. I mean, to be fair, 1974. I am surprised they got away with some of their posters. Let's be honest.
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah.
You don't usually see a horror. I mean, horror posters are usually, slightly more graphic, I guess, than normal posters.
Yeah.
Some of them can be.
Yeah.
But for a 1974 poster to feature a girl that's been suffocated with a bag on a poster. Would not expect that back in those days.
Oh,
nowadays,
you would never get that now. I don't think you would get that now.
No? Oh, probably not.
Could you imagine?
I'm still surprised I got away with it then.
Could you? I mean, obviously, Black Christmas has been remade twice. Do not watch the remakes, folks. They're not great.
No.
And those posters are very tame. Like one of them, I think, is a bottom of a Christmas tree with some blood. But can you imagine? Black Christmas came out now, the original. You're walking down the road, and you see a bus go past. And you know the buses are full. You've got the movie.
Yeah.
London buses. You've got it. Kind of goes along horizontal, and then there's a vertical strip. The long horizontal bit, you've got Black Christmas, and then the vertical strip, you've got this woman sat in a rocking chair with suffocated by. I don't think that would go very well.
Well, that's the thing. It would be a great piece of marketing because you'd be like, "I'm sorry, what did I just see?"
Yes.
Because you'd probably see Black Christmas, like, I have to look this up. I have to see what this is. What is this? Yeah. And now that this with Claire in the rocking chair, it's very tame compared to a lot of deaths nowadays.
Yeah.
Because I did watch it, and for me, I was looking at it thinking, okay, well, that's not the worst I've seen.
Yeah.
But it's actually Claire's death is, I think, supposed to be more sad than shocking.
Oh, completely.
Because all you've got this poor girl who just wants to go home for Christmas, and he poses her in this rocking chair, looking out the window.
Yeah.
To the Christmas scene, and all she's doing is she's just rocking backwards and forwards. And I felt really sad for her because I thought she's never going to go home. And throughout the whole film, we keep going back to her.
Yeah.
And every time Billy knocks her or something, her head just keeps falling to more and more sides, just to keep looking out the window a bit more. To that final scene where it just pans out the camera and you just have her sad face.
She's still there.
just
Still
looking out the
there.
window. She's still there. She never leaves.
Well, he's rocking because of him. Because there's that scene of POV where he's grabbing her, rocking her, going like just
With that
meant
weird
just
doll baby.
yeah. He's put a doll there. He's crazy. He's rocking her
Yeah.
like you'd be rocking a crib, and then he loses it and starts rummaging around the attic. It is sad. It is a sad death. You're right.
Is.
Yeah.
But it's another great staple of the horror genre, which is all the victims and the serial killers are always closer than you think.
Yeah.
Because we have all the police wondering where the girls gone missing, and they never think to check the house. It's like, well, and it's only right at the end where they finally trace the call, and the guy goes, "It's 6 Melview House or whatever."
Whatever it is. Yeah.
John, Lieutenant Fuller goes, "Well, that's not possible. That's the sorority house." And he goes, "Yeah, that's where it's come from." And you see it click, and you see him sitting there going, "Oh, shit! We never checked the house. Why did we not check the house?" Which nowadays, in horror films, it's like, cool, someone got murdered here. Why don't we check the house? Let's have a look at the house, shall we?
Check the basement. They did go to the house. They invested before. That was when they were about to set up the tracing. And the lieutenant went up to Claire's room, and he was just looking around. He was talking to them about Claire, trying to find any reasons as to maybe why she's gone missing. But yeah, like you said, they never checked the house. They never checked the attic. There's a massive attic above you. Could he not be like, "What's up there? Is that a room? Do you guys go up there? What's been who was last up there? What do you store up there?
Yeah.
Is it locked?
And
is it easy accessible? What about the basement?
The only
Can we
one
check the basement?
Is Mrs. Mack. She's the only one who checks. Doesn't end well for her, admittedly, but there you go. She gets the old hook to the noggin or back of the head. Which weird, because I think there's a slight continuity error here. Because when she gets killed, she goes up and she sees Claire, and that's when she realizes, oh my god, Claire's dead. And Billy's behind her at this point with the hook, and she turns around to face him, and he lets go of it.
Yeah.
So that hook should have gone right there. But when we see her later, because he hoiks her up through the pulley system, and she's then been hung the other way around, so the hook went through the back of her neck. So unless he took her off and then rehung her Halloween Kills Michael Myers style, there's a slight continuity error there.
Well, yeah, I think that's probably a given in these old type of films.
Oh yeah,
but I feel like
quite easily.
It felt like you were leaning into the topic of preservation, because this is he also kind of preserves his kills. Like, they didn't check the house.
That's a bit, yeah.
He did. They did, like you said, they didn't check the house, but if they did, they probably would have seen all these preserved kills. Claire, Mrs. Mack with the hook, and then eventually Barb and Phyllis on the bed, which they look massacred and just piled on the bed.
Well, see, that's the thing, is so when Jess, when she's running, when she's trying to escape, she finds Barb. I don't know. Oh, she finds Phyllis. Phyllis is killed off camera. That's it.
Yeah.
And so even after they save Jess, and they say, right, well, we've got to move the bodies, they still don't check the attic.
No.
I don't know why. It's like, okay, the killer was in the house at the time. Why has no one gone into that loft?
Yeah.
But I reckon, again, going back to my, when I mentioned about Bob Clark having a chat with John Carpenter, and his film be The Guy Was Arrested, maybe if he had made a sequel, it would have done that, that little, following the events of Black Christmas 1974.
Yeah.
Upon looking in the loft, they found Claire, Mrs. Mack, arrested the guy.
Yeah.
And it would kind of tie it up, but obviously, that never happened.
So we were briefly just talking about the kills. Talk about the Mrs. Mack's kill. I was a bit unsure about her death because he's holding this hook on a pulley system. It's a pretty hefty, probably a steel hook, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that would impale. Would it impale her face, or would it be more of a blunt damage to her face, like a blunt, solid object?
I suppose it depends on if it goes through your eye. I mean, that's very soft.
Yeah.
It could go through. To be fair, I think again, it's one of those things. It's written at the time. It's more for. So most of these deaths occur off screen. The only one that occurs on camera is Barb's death. That's the only one that actually
really
appears on camera.
Yeah.
So I think for the rest of them, it was a case of, okay, they're dying, but it's up to you to kind of work out. So it allows you to use your imagination to fill the gaps. So with Claire, we see her in the rocking chair. She's got the bag over her head. So you assume she suffocated her.
Yeah.
Doesn't
he does grab her with the clear plastic. It looks like a clothes overall, choking her. But obviously, we don't know if that's how he killed her.
No. So I think it allows you to use your creativity of your own imagination to fill the gaps. So with Mrs. Mack, it depends if it's assuming it did enough penetration damage to hook her.
Yeah.
But it might not be in her face. It might have hit her in the shoulder or something. I don't know.
Well, that's it. Like she had her mouth open conveniently where hook inside her mouth.
Phyllis completely dies off camera.
Oh yeah, no idea.
There is no idea how she dies, but you find her later on the bed with Bob.
Yeah. Barb's death is not. Yeah, it's shown, but it's not as quick. It has a bit of preamble to it.
Barb's death is probably the most graphic death in this. She gets fully punctured by a glass unicorn. Death by unicorn. My notes. So that's probably the most graphic. Unicorn, yeah. That's probably the most graphic death in this entire film.
Yeah, because even Peter's death at the end we don't see.
No, but it's implied, and that's the thing. It's obviously we find Peter. He's ghostly white. He's obviously dead, but he's in the lap of Jess. So, did Jess kill him, or did Billy kill him? Well, no, actually,
because I think it's implied that Jess did because he found Jess as Jess was hiding from Peter.
But it's not apparent straight away because when you see the Jess, I watched it and think, oh shit, they're both dead. I was like, this is new. There's no final girl. They're all dead. It's only when Lieutenant Fuller says Jess and she opens her eyes.
Yeah.
She's alive.
Yeah.
And again, even at this late, because this is like the last 5 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
Even at this late stage, it's still pointing the fingers to Peter. It's like, well, even Fuller goes, it's Peter. I knew it was him. I knew it was the ex.
Without evidence.
Without evidence. But then, of course, you find out right at the end that Billy is still in the attic, doing whatever creepy stuff he does. And then I thought it was great because he then calls the house phone. And you just see the police officer at the front going,
because they leave Jess because she's passed out. They leave her in bed in the house, and they just all leave her with one policeman left outside the guard, and they have no evidence on Peter. That even though he's now dead, you obviously can't pin it on it. You can't really properly pin it on him. You can blame him; he's dead, doesn't matter. But they have no evidence that it was him. They're kind of just it must have been fine.
There we go. I think that ominous, not ominous, that ambiguity.
Yeah.
Again, if this was done now, you can guarantee there would have been a Black Christmas 2, because end shot, the phone ringing.
Yeah.
When you'd be watching and going, okay, he's still in there. All right, when's the next film coming out?
Yeah, and I feel like it would have started with kind of like Halloween Resurrection. Jess awakens, tries to fight back, but then they kill Jess off in the first opening Kind of like we did with
Yeah.
Claire. They killed, and then we start with the new
Yeah.
past. You know.
He kills the cop that's outside and goes, right,
Yeah.
where's the next sorority house? Off I go.
Dresses up as the cop in the cop's clothes, goes to a new sorority house, and
Oh,
is like, "Excuse me, girls, we've got a problem here. We need to just come out and check it out."
now I must admit,
Mm.
when they're all sitting around Jess's bed,
Yeah.
you get the shot of everyone,
Yeah.
and there's one solitary bloke that walks past the camera,
Yes, there is. There is.
and I sat there went, "That's Billy. That's Billy."
Yeah.
He's just walking past, going, "Okay, right. Well, let's got a lot of cops." It's like, "Okay, I'm going to keep going
Well, they don't know what he
because
looks
they're
like, do they? So
no," and that's what's great because I think similar to what was it? I think it was when we were doing our Halloween Ends review.
yeah.
Was Michael's? We said Michael's been around Halloween, just surviving
Yeah.
for 5 years, but no one knows what he looks like. So if he
Yes.
needs food, would he just take the mask off and just walk around? Similar to Billy, he could just go, right, I have to escape. Oh yeah, no one knows what I look like, so I'm just going to casually walk around this building.
Yeah.
No one will bat an eyelid.
Yeah. Exactly. That's just quickly back to Barb's death, because it was probably the most
Violent.
probably important death in the film, because it's the one you see. Before that, she's disturbed in a way by Billy, who's creeping around.
Yes.
But she
Yeah.
wakes up thinking it's a nightmare, but at the same time she wakes up having an asthma attack. And I felt it was quite ironic that she's asthmatic, she has an asthma attack. All the while through the whole film, she's puff, smoking, drinking.
Oh yeah, good point.
And yet she has a massive asthma attack and is pumping that inhaler to just help her out.
Yep.
But then when her death, it's foreshadowed that she'll die by this unicorn statue, because the camera shows it as Billy's walking into the room. And then when Billy does kill her, he's relentless with this unicorn statue.
Oh yeah, he goes ham. He fully punctures the crap out of her.
Yeah. And that's kind of a blunt object as well, because if it's a trophy, I wouldn't imagine that's quite sharp. So I mean, that's quite a blunt horn on said unicorn. Yeah. But go on.
Well, I was going to say that there were two pieces of cinematography that I thought were fantastic in this film.
Yeah.
And one of them is every now and then, because obviously the attic is Billy's hideout.
Yeah.
It's every time he does his kill and he gets back to safety, there's just this really cool shot. It's just this attic door just slowly closing like that. And it was just brilliant because it just highlights this great piece of slasher code, which was the killer, he's always got a way to disappear.
Yeah.
And it was every time he kills someone, it's just
it's fade back into the attic.
Yeah. The other one, now I thought this was amazing, was when Jess she's come face to face with Billy.
Yeah.
And he's looking at her through, I think it's either the floorboards or something. And all you see is his big eye, just like that. This crazy eye going around as he's taunting her.
No, that's when Jess finds Barb and Phil.
That was it.
But he's behind the door.
Oh, is he? That was it. Yes.
Because how does she either kicks the door into him and you hear him scream, and then that's how the chase happens. But that's that shot. That is what I've used for the thumbnail. I'm gonna send you the thumbnail now.
It reminded me. I sat there watching this, going, okay, that reminds me of the Shining moment where Jack's breaking through the door and he sticks his head through the door. I was like, that's a Shining moment. It also reminded me a bit of the Wreck poster, where you have the eye, that big red crazy eye.
Got it here. It's actually Wreck 2, I believe.
Wreck 2, that was the one.
Here we go. So we got Wreck 1, which I got for £2 on Blu-ray in a charity shop.
Yep.
And it's here, Wreck 2.
That's the one. It reminded me of that poster shot.
Yeah.
Because all it is he does it so well. through this little tiny peephole through the door of just this manic eye
Yeah.
going ballistic. And
I'll put
even though you don't,
I'll put the picture up here in the video.
yeah, even though we never get to see his face, it's so believable that this is a man who's clearly, he's clearly not well. But to him, it's like all he can focus on is, right, I just want to kill every single girl in this house, and there's only one left.
Yeah.
It was just such a brilliant piece of cinematography.
It's an incredible shot. I just sent you the thumbnail, which we're going to use for it.
Let me have a look.
Nice little subtle thumbnail design with the eyeball. It's fantastic.
So good.
I think it's also so good with the whites.
Red.
His eyeball's red, and it's the whites of his eye as well, which make it pop a lot more. That you're able to see the eyeball. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Speaking of that shot, though, after Jess does try to escape, there's not much downtime with this escape. Like she tries to escape, and he is on her. He pounces and runs at Jess. Yeah. He's really fast, really aggressive, and it's really intense. And there's no downtime with it. There's no Michael Myers is walking and Jess trips up and falls. No, he's there. He grabs her hair. He's like relentless.
Yeah, he's a different kind of slasher to maybe not Leatherface, but I would say name called again, Chucky, Jason, Freddy,
the standards,
the standard ones.
Yeah.
Maybe not Michael, but most of them, they always toy with their victim. They always toy with them. It's like either they're taunting them, they're torturing them, they're doing something. But Leatherface, Michael, and Billy, it's nothing. Leatherface is like, you're in my house. I've got my chainsaw. I'm coming for you, and he chases them.
Yeah.
Michael does the same. When he walks remarkably fast, but once he catches you, he stabs you, he kills you. That's it. And again with Billy, there's no interest in the foreplay of the chase. It's just like, I want you dead. I'm coming after you, and he does. He just goes full pelt for them.
Yeah, it's very, very intense, and again,
you could say that like we said, Jess doesn't get enough recognition for being one of the OG Final Girls. Same with Billy. He's one of the original slashers. And yet, if you were to put him on a list of slashers, he probably wouldn't really appear.
No,
because he's not much is known about him.
Is he officially called Billy, or are we calling him Billy?
I think he's officially called Billy because there is a weird... during some of these phone calls, he sounds like there's a mother accusing Billy of like killing a baby or something. I'm gonna have to look this up as well. I think let's have a look. Black Christmas. The thing is, the ones that followed, obviously the remakes that followed, they also referred to him as Billy. So,
well, there's a thing I found here called it says Jess gets the final phone call in which the killer, still referred to as a killer, alludes to some sort of transgression between two children named Agnes and Billy. So apparently, I mean, it's still not clear that Agnes could be he's referring to as a kid as well.
So Billy is a fictional character in the Black Christmas series. So he was inspired by the urban legend, The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs, as well as a series of real murders in Montreal during the 1943 holiday season. So following the film, many fans and media outlets referred to the character's name as Billy, and Bob Clark himself also said the character is called Billy. Right. So it's probably true that his name is Billy. It's just probably never really... It's in the credits, you don't see his name. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The character's not mentioned, nor is the people who played him, to keep it more, I guess, ambiguous.
More of a mystery.
Who he is.
Much more of a mystery.
But it looks like it's fairly safe to say that Billy is his actual name.
Yeah. Okay.
But
we'll call him Billy.
Like we said, it was one and done for him. He was only in this film. That was it. He's never had any more films with him in,
No.
but he was one of the original slashers, if
Yeah.
not the original one, who fitted the mold of right. He's a killer. He's he's not quite there in the head, and he
Not quite.
actively goes out and he's actively going out
Yeah.
to find victims. Unlike Leatherface at the time, who was just happy living on his farm. But no, some kids came along and ruined it.
Well, that was Leatherface is also down to the family. They went and grave robbed. They went and killed people.
Oh yeah.
They were cannibals. There was all that. This guy, we have no motive, no backstory for,
No,
and that's fine.
I think that's great because he could be anyone. That's the thing. He could be anyone. He could be your next door neighbor who's lived next to the sorority house and went, you know what? I hate this bloody house.
He's
I've
just
had enough.
lost it.
And it's great because there was a game that came out. Oh God, it was something like Neon Killer or something. It was like a 2D horror game where this guy literally he gets so sick and tired of these university parties that he puts on a hockey mask, takes enough, goes, fuck it, I've had enough. And you play as this killer. You get to go around these little weird.
Oh, that's
yeah, it's that game.
I know. That's not Hotline Miami, is it?
No, it's not Hotline Miami.
I know. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, I can't remember the name.
Are you sure it's not? Is it Hotline Miami?
So, no, a 2D horror game. 2D horror game. Not Limber, not Carrion, not Inside, not Front. Oh, this is gonna bug me. With disco music. It's disco music. That was it. Was it the Disco Killer?
It's set in 1989 Miami. The game revolves primarily around an unnamed silent protagonist dubbed Jacket by fans who have been receiving coded messages of his answering machine instructing him to commit massacres against the local Russian mafia. It's not that?
No, that's not it. No. Okay. It's annoying. I've even got this game on my Steam account and I can't remember what it was called. Oh, shoot. That's going to drive me up the wall, that is.
One final thing about Billy is that at the end, when he is pursuing Jess, they end up at the basement and she locks the door and he's so aggressive trying to get in that basement door and then suddenly stops. And when he stops, that's it. We're done with Billy.
Oh, yeah.
That's Billy's, in a theory, send-off until right at the end when he's just in the attic. That's it. There's no attacking Billy. We don't see a fight between Jess and Billy. They keep him really strong and really secret. They don't overexpose him too much. And I love that.
Yeah,
he's left a mystery completely. You haven't found it, have you?
Oh, no. I'm going to find it and I'm going to tweet what it is. This is going to bug the crap out of me.
I think it's safe to say Black Christmas is the 1974 Black Christmas is one of the best Christmas horror films, if not one of the best slasher films made, I'd say. I upon rewatch, I think I loved it even more on rewatch. Christmas horror films, you've got this, Silent Night, Deadly Night, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but 1 is the only one you need to watch.
Krampus.
Slay, Krampus. That's probably Gremlins. You know that Gremlins is a Christmas horror film. And it's a family-friendly one.
Horror comedy. It is, yes. It is a great film, actually.
But Black Christmas is way up there. You do not need to watch the Who remakes. There is 2 remakes, folks, and they're awful. Yeah, highly recommend this. Highly recommend if you, even though this is coming out on Christmas Day, so if you want it for next year, or you just like Christmas films all year round, watch it.
Do give it a shot. It is. As someone who's watched it for the first time, it was great to see where it pretty much most of it started. It was fantastic to see, and even though I will admit it was a bit of a slow burn, I did get to about 40 minutes in. I was sitting thinking, "Oh, please let something happen."
Yeah,
but that I think is a product of our time, which is with slashers now. It's like, right, here's a quick intro to the slasher, quick build up, get into the kills. Here's what the killer. Here's the big middle part. They figure it all out. Here's the escape. Final go fight. End.
Yeah.
Whereas back then it was like, okay, right, we've got the killer. let's build up the story, build up the characters, make you like it, make you like that. Okay, then wham.
Yeah.
Similar to like Friday the 13th Part 2. Big build up. You get to know the characters. You get to fall in love with them. You
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
see little glimpses of Jason. Last half an hour, shit hits the fan. It all goes crazy.
Yeah.
And it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, completely. So
it's a great film.
Go out and find it, acquire it. It's £1 on Amazon Prime if you want to watch that as well. I had to recommend that to someone today, actually, that it's only £1 if you want to get it on there. Renting, that is. Or get the 4K release, which I plan to do very soon. Yeah. Good call.
I did try to get Terrifier 2 in HMV. Couldn't find it. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, on Amazon. I got it on Amazon.
Yeah, but the thing is, you sent me that link to the like Ultra Collector's Edition, so I'm like, I might have to save money for that.
That comes out next February, I believe.
Yeah, that might be a Valentine's Day present to myself. Oh, we haven't done a Valentine's Day film yet. Oh, I know which one we're doing next year.
Either My Bloody Valentine.
Yes.
Or Valentine.
No, we're doing I haven't heard of that second one, so we're doing My Bloody Valentine.
Valentine was a early 2000s slasher film with Angel from Buffy.
Plus, I do have an idea for a really quirky episode, which relies on you not listening to anything by Ice Nine Kills. Don't listen to them. Don't look them up. Don't do anything.
I know who they are.
Okay, if you've not heard any of their songs, though, that's great.
Because I'm going to.
That's fine.
Okay.
So long as you haven't heard the Silver Scream albums, because I'm going to test your movie knowledge on them.
Okay.
Because all the songs on those albums are based on horror films.
Okay.
So I'm gonna play you snippets and see if you can guess.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going. Okay, fine. Yeah, we'll do that.
Oh yes.
There you go. Terrifier 2 Blu-ray, £13 on Amazon if you want it. That's what I got. But that's our last episode of the year. We made it nearly a whole year. We will make it a year, I think, when we do our first January episode. We're taking next week off.
Yes.
And then we're doing the first week in January. And that'll be our wrap up for the rest of 2022 of horror films.
We have a few trailer breakdowns, a few trailer reactions, that we have to do. We have Scream 6. You had another one. You had a second one, but I can't remember if you said what it was.
Yes, it's a one that kind of came out of nowhere called 65 with Adam Driver.
Oh, I saw that flashed up the other day.
That kind of dropped, and like Thorns did, but Thorns is a indie film. This is a high budget.
That one looks good. That Thorn one looks interesting.
Yeah, 60. It's just called 65. Don't know much about it. Here we go. Premise: after a catastrophic crash on an unknown planet, pilot Mills quickly discovers he's stranded on Earth. You blew it up.
Yeah, it
65.
sounds a bit Planet of the Apes.
Oh wait, no, hang on. Oh wait, it really does actually. Now I read this. Hang on, let me start it again. After a catastrophic crash on an unknown planet, pilot Mills quickly discovers he's stranded on Earth. 65 million years ago. Now, with only one chance at rescue, Mills and the only other survivor, Hoa, must make their way across an unknown terrain riddled with dangerous prehistoric creatures, including dinosaurs, in an epic fight to survive. So this is kind of basically Planet of the Apes with dinosaurs.
It's Jurassic Park.
Meets Jurassic Park, yeah.
Which I saw. Interesting enough, though.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jurassic Park is a PG kind of family-ish film.
Yeah.
If you've ever read the book is a lot darker, a lot more.
Imagine. I can only imagine.
Horrific. And actually, if they were to stick, or HBO was to do a faithful adaptation of the book, it would be a pure horror TV show because of what will be in it. And I sat there going, I really hope they do that. That would be fantastic. We could be reviewing Jurassic Park as like a pure horror thing. It'd be great.
Don't call it Jurassic Park. They've butchered that franchise too much.
Yeah, they really have. I haven't even seen the latest film, and I sat there thinking, I don't really need to. It sounds rubbish.
Right. That's it. Let's go have a Christmas. Go have a hopefully not a black Christmas. We're not gonna have a white Christmas. No. Let's hopefully not have a black Christmas.
Yes. Have a very good Christmas, everyone.
Yes, have a very good Christmas. Thank you for sticking with us this year. And when we come back, we'll run down some other horror films, because I got a few other horror films we've not talked about on episodes to just recap.
Oh,
I've mentioned to you some other ones I've watched that have come out this year.
oh
I'm not going to
yes.
talk about it now. And we'll talk about it in the wrap up of 2022. Until then, you can find this podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, Podbean, Amazon, and YouTube, all by searching The Dreadcast.
That's right. You can find us on TikTok at the Dreadcast. Find us there. You can find us on emails at thedreadcastpodcast@gmail.com. Send us anything. Subscribe to stuff. We don't care. We'll take it. And you can find us on our own other social medias down there in the little box. That's where you can
Down there.
find us.
And the Instagram at _Dreadcast.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that's it. All
Yeah.
right. Let's get out of here and have a non-black Christmas.
Yes, indeed. Stay creepy. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
I was about to say Happy Christmas to everyone, but tell them to stay creepy instead. Whatever.
Okay. Stay creepy and have a good Christmas.
Have a good Christmas, one and all.